great to be with you all again on Maundy Thursday. Such a special day as we are kind of more focused in on our Easter journey together. So if you've been following along in the notes, we're on Maundy Thursday today, and if you want to find these, if you go to the homepage of St John's, www.stjb.org.uk, you can find the notes for the whole of Holy Week on there. We're going to be reading today from John chapter 13, and we're going to read verses 1 to 17 and then verse 31 to 35. So we're going to be missing out the bit that we looked at yesterday, the bit with Judas. So I'll start reading. It was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I'm doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "Then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, "Those who have had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean. And you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that was why he said not everyone was clean. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly, I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them." When Judas was gone, Jesus said, "Now the Son of Man is glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will glorify the Son in himself, and will glorify him at once. My children, I will be with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and just as I told the Jews, so I tell you now, where I am going, you cannot come. A new command I give you: love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." Simon Peter asked him, "Lord, where are you going?" Jesus replied, "Where I am going, you cannot follow now, but you will follow later." Jesus asked, "Lord, why can't I follow you now? I will lay down my life for you." Then Jesus answered, "Will you really lay down your life for me? Very truly, I tell you, before the cock crows, you will disown me 3 times. My goodness, there is so much in this passage, isn't there? And I can't help thinking, what would Peter have been thinking as he was listening to Jesus. There are so many moments with Peter and Jesus in this narrative, aren't there? As Peter initially objects to having his feet washed by Jesus, can't quite believe that his Lord would stoop to that level of service. And yet he's still his kind of rambunctious, outward going extrovert self, isn't he? As he tries to engage with what this new season of life is going to mean for him. And that moment where Jesus tells him that he will be a betrayer, just like Judas, as we saw yesterday. And yet their two paths develop in such very different ways as the narrative unfolds. One of the things I think that leaps out to me again and again as I look at this passage is the word love. The Gospel of John is known all the way through as the Gospel of Love, and it's Jesus' love that is marked out here at the beginning of the text. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. This is Jesus demonstrating what he does with those who he considers to be his own. And this is Jesus demonstrating love and service. The Greek word kenosis means self-giving, and is often used to describe the way that Jesus' role as Christ and Messiah is best demonstrated through his self-giving love, the way he continually gives himself away. And as he gives this just incredibly clear demonstration of love in action as he washes the disciples' feet, I couldn't help thinking actually of how we started the week, looking at Mary washing the feet of Jesus. And we were talking then about what it means to be embodied, and recognizing that in this period of time where we can't physically be together, it's actually crucially important that we remember that we and our faith is experienced in our body. And I don't know how you best learn, but often we best learn in experiences that we have in our body. We talk about muscle memory, don't we? We talk about training our bodies. And as Jesus demonstrates by washing his disciples' feet, the disciples are having an embodied experience that they will never, ever forget. It's an experience of real physical vulnerability. Years back when I was training at St Peter's Greenhill, my vicar then, who was training me as an ordinand, washed everybody's feet on Maundy Thursday. And it is such a physically kind of vulnerable and exposing experience. You don't forget what that feels like quickly. And so Jesus demonstrates his love in this way. And he says to them, now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set an example that you should do as I have done for you. So he's really clear. This is the pattern that he is expecting his disciples to live into once he's gone. And the absolute pinnacle of this text, verse 34, a new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. Jesus knows that he's going. Jesus knows that the end of the week is going to end with his death on the cross. The disciples haven't completely caught up with that as yet, but he is telling them exactly what he wants them to do after he is gone. He wants them to form a community that is hallmarked by acts of love, self-giving and service. Well, that got me thinking about how have we seen some of that in these days that we're living in right now. And just this morning, I came across a story that I would really urge you to find. It's on the BBC website, on the, I think, East Yorkshire and Humberside BBC website. We'll maybe try and post a link to it later. A beautiful story of a head teacher in Grimsby, a deputy head teacher of a primary school in Grimsby, and his school have, I think it's something like 250 children who receive free school meals. We'll have to check the story in detail, but a significant number of children who receive free school meals every day. And obviously, as a deputy head teacher, he'll have spent years, getting SATs papers organised, marking reports, doing all kinds of teacherly things, filling in paperwork, being in school with children. He can't do any of that anymore. So instead, what he's doing when he goes to work in the morning is being part of the preparation of all of these meals, and then he's packing them into a rucksack, one on his front, one on his back, huge camping rucksacks, and he's walking the community for 2.5 hours every day, giving out all of these packed lunches to school children. It's the most beautiful story of love and service in action. Or even closer to home, we have Bradfield School, who realised that they could do something in response to the crisis that we're all in. So their DT teachers began to make PPE masks for NHS staff. And over the last 2 weeks, they and other schools have made and delivered hundreds of PPE masks for clinical staff at GP surgeries and in Sheffield hospitals. What a fabulous story. Or on a smaller scale, I heard the story the other day of Kate Botley. Lots of you will know Kate, who had been chatting from a social distance to her neighbours and realised that her neighbours were really upset because the tree in their front garden had died and was just looking really sorry for itself and miserable. So she went out in the dead of night and decorated it with homemade paper Easter eggs and paper leaves and all sorts of things like that, so that their tree could look beautiful and blooming once more. I don't think it was Mother Teresa who said this, although it's often attributed to Mother Teresa. But the famous saying goes, we can't all do great things, but we can all do small things with great love. We can't all do great things, but we can all do small things with great love. And for those of us who are at home, who are maybe feeling as though we're in need of a little bit of love and TLC today, well, it may feel as though this is a time where we've been stripped back and where the tree is bare, and where we can't see the signs of life and hope that most excite us. But I want to encourage you today that following in the pattern of Jesus looks like us doing small things with great love wherever we're able, whatever those things may be. It may be as simple as picking up the phone and having a conversation with a friend or a family member who you haven't spoken to for a while. It may be as simple as baking something extra special with whatever ingredients you have available for your family. It may be that there are practical things you can do if you can get out of the house, like volunteering with the food bank or delivering things to people. And we do have a COVID-19 St John's WhatsApp support group where we're trying to link up things that are needed with people who are able to respond. So it may be that you could join in there and get involved. It may be that you could volunteer at the food bank, or it may be that you could write someone a letter. That lost art of letter writing is something that can make the most incredible difference at times like this. It may be that everything you have is going into just functioning right now, and what you can do is pray. Maybe just hold the names of some people that you love before God today. Whatever it is that we can do, however tiny and small it may feel, these are the things of the kingdom. These are the things that Jesus has asked us to do. And these are the things that are going to show those around us that we are people who carry the love of Jesus. So can I encourage us all that the love of Jesus is alive and in our hearts today, even as we journey through this Easter week in these totally unusual circumstances? And how can we give that love away today? So I'm going to say the prayer on the card. You might want to follow it if you've got the card with you. Oh God, protect those whom we love and who we are separated from. Guide them when they are uncertain. Comfort them when they are lonely or afraid. And bless them with the warmth of your presence. Thank you that neither space nor time can cut us off from the love we have in Jesus and in each other. Amen.